Managing payroll is relatively easy within Xero. What I'm going to show you today is how to do a pay run. So we're going to be assuming that the employees are all correctly set up, and we're going to go into payroll, which is just over here, and run a pay run. So this is what you do at the end of each week or fortnight or month, depending on how you've got your system set up, and it might be doing it in each of those runs. So pay runs can be done over a number of different pay cycles. So as you can see here, we've got some people on fortnightly cycles and some people on weekly cycles. So I'm just going to add a pay run, and now I need to select what pay run I'm going to run. So I'm going to run the weekly pay run, and all of the weekly employees will come up on this pay run. So there are just 2 weekly employees here, and we've got Adette Garrison and Tracy Green. You can see just here that Adette Garrison already has some details in her pay run and some pay figures, and also Tracy has none. So we'll go into Adette's first, and she obviously has her 35 hours at 21 hours a week. Now, assuming that that's her salary, we'd just leave that alone, and we'd just go down to the bottom and save and next. Obviously, if she's got leave or all of those other items, it would be something we would manage separately. Now, Tracy might be one of those people who's on an hourly rate, so maybe she worked 10 hours or 20 hours this week, or let's call it 20 hours. So we'd put in her details. Now, if there's a PAYG taxable, as there is, you'll see that it comes up automatically and it gets deducted from her salary. Obviously, her superannuation gets calculated automatically as well, and then there's just a little bit of down here in terms of her annual leave and carers leave accruals. They're set up correctly. So if those items aren't on there, and she's a permanent employee and she doesn't have those items on there, if she's casual, it might not accrue, but they should be on the system. So if they're not coming up, you've probably got a problem. We'll hit save here, and we're just going to now, having completed that, close out of that employee. Alright, so we're going to have a quick look at those. We're going to assume that those items are correct. We're going to post that pay run, so that it now goes into the system. So that's now moved from not being in the ledger to being on the ledger. Okay. What we next need to do is we can email out the payslips to the employees. Really simple process. That's already done. And finally, we need to create the draft bill. So by creating the draft bill, we're actually making this a payable item. So that's done. The draft bill's been created, and if we decide for whatever reason we've made an error, we can just revert to draft and reverse back out. Now, just in regards to what happens to that draft bill, if we go into purchases, you'll see that there is a value in draft here. I'll just open that up, and we've got this line here which is generated by Xero Payroll. So we just click on that and approve it. And then when we pay the pay run, which will be in an awaiting payment, and we just pay that item, so we can pay it as a batch payment, or alternatively we could have just gone back into our pay run, and I'm just going to go back here now, open up that pay run that we've just done, and download the ABA file. Okay, there might be something not quite right with the settings here in relation to the ABA file, but basically you'd be able to pay that directly into your banking. So that's really how as easy as payroll gets. Um, we can go into more detail, and we will over other videos, to look at how to manage leave, how to set up employees. But in terms of the basics, that's all you really need to know. And if you can do that each pay period, that'll make your life a lot easier. Thanks again for your time.